Bettinelli in goal. I'm going to
give him an 8 out of 10. He performed absolutely amazing today. Like, there was a slight chance of Sheffield United getting a goal, but he got the ball, so I'd give Bettinelli a strong 8.
For me, Bettinelli, I'd have to give him a 7. Mainly, he didn't do anything wrong, but the fact that there really wasn't much of a threat from Sheffield United today. Personally, I think that Bettinelli, obviously, did anybody see that statistic that Bettinelli's not conceded a goal at home in 300 minutes, which I think it was 300 minutes. You probably get me probably wrong. Yeah, just for over that. And also, there was a debate on Twitter between Bettinelli and Button. The one thing I'd say Bettinelli has that I've noticed over David Button isn't the fact that he's just Fulham and he came through the Fulham Youth Academy. It isn't because Button came through Brentford. For me, it's the communication from Bettinelli, the way that he shouts at his players, organises that defence, organises that team. So, for me, exactly Bettinelli, 7.
Same here. I'd say I'd go for an 8 today. He had nothing really to face, but what he did face, he had well, and he was very composed in what he did. So overall, I'd give him an 8, and I think as a group, I think would you have to?
Yeah, I'd say definitely 8. He's loud. He's a good keeper, Bettinelli. I'd say good 8, definitely.
Fredericks.
Ryan Fredo. Oh, Fredo.
Oh, Fredo.
Do you know what? I'd say Fredo was a 7 today. Like, he did. Like, he wasn't too attacking, because I'm pretty sure Slavisa probably just said hold back, but the runs that Fredo makes are very attacking and very scary for the opposition's defence. Like, I love Ryan Fredericks, because Fredo is just unreal. I swear to God. Like,
there's obviously a reason.
I like Christie. He's a big bulky guy, but Fredo, he's as quick as lightning.
I think he benefits the style of play that we play. Like, the way that he just can. You lay off a ball to him and he's already halfway up the field. Even when he's defending, he gives us that extra oomph, as Michael would say, or Mug would say.
Out of 10 though, what would you put?
I'd probably agree with you lot and say Frederick 7-ish.
Yeah. Target?
Matty Target, I'd say 7 as well. Like, he was doing well, he was pacing up. He almost he won the ball right in the corner flag in the last 9 minutes, so that could have given us another opportunity to score. So Target, he's a good player. I hope we sign Target, because
what a player he's been.
He's got enough experience from the Premier League, and if we don't get promoted next season, then he will be able to be a stronghold at that position he's playing in.
Yeah.
So I'd say Target a 7 today.
What another quality signing Target's been.
I think Target would also, I'd give him a 7 as well. I think today he offered a lot of consistency.
Yeah, he has. He's been consistent.
I think the way he's going down that left flank is unreal. He's got a lot of speed to offer, and I think with a few occasional runs today, it felt like, honestly, that someone has stuck a Duracell battery on his back. Because those overlaps were unreal. We went at them. And they really made me proud today, and I think Target, since he's arrived on loan, he's stood out.
Yeah, he's been a big impact target straight away off the bat.
And I know with players on the left back position and the right back position, we've struggled to fill those boots over the last couple of seasons. And I can honestly say now, with the beginning of this season and how things have panned out, we've, as a back four, have achieved something.
Yeah, we have.
We've got a strong line now that teams are struggling to get past, and like Liam said a minute ago, Bettinelli hasn't conceded in over 300 minutes of football.
Yeah, and that's a reason.
That's one reason why.
Yeah, he's been consistent
because we've got the back four that are very strong and agile and aerial, and I think because of that strength that we have, we allowed the midfielders and the attackers to be able to go off freely and do their own thing, and the way they play and everything. So yeah,
he's also benefited Sessegnon long term, being able to push him forward. Everybody knew that Sess was. If anybody says Sess is a left back, you're a liar, or you're ignorant. But Sess, for me, just being able to push Sess forward has just been quality for us.
Odoi.
Denis Odoi, he played well. Denis, I like. I'd give Denis a 6, like a 7-ish. As these boys have been saying, we didn't have too much threat to deal with today. So there was a little bit of danger here and there, but in previous games I've seen a lot worse in attacking sense. So Odoi, I'd give him a 6.
Odoi, I disagree with that. I'd say Odoi. I'd say 7 because The one thing I really respect about Odoi is the fact that he doesn't seem that he's complained. Obviously, we made the move over from Belgium, and every time that we've needed him, if it's the slot into that centre back row or the slot into that right back row or left back row, he's always been consistent, and he's still giving Paul Dummett a lot of nightmares from last season. So I want to go Odoi. The fact that he got into that, So yeah, Odoi. I'm trying to think of the best way of putting it.
Odoi,
the fact
out
that he's
10, out of 10.
Okay, 7.
7 out of 10 for Odoi.
So for Odoi, for me, like, I think Fulham fans don't give him as much credit as he deserves.
Yeah.
I think when he first arrived from Belgium to Fulham, he was playing as a right back, and we've had him playing so many positions this season. He's very adaptable.
Mr. Versatile, Chris Baird-esque.
He's so adaptational. Like, we can play him anywhere in any position in the back four, and he can play there comfortably. And I thought today as well, he made a great run where he was brought down just outside the D, just before the 18-yard box, and just for him to make that burst through centre back all the way up just shows you could play that man anywhere on the pitch, and you'd still have faith in him.
Yeah, I'd actually put my rating up to a 7. That was class.
So my personal rating would be an 8, but I think as a group we could all agree on Odoi a 7 rating today.
Tim Ream.
Oh, the American Ream. You know, everybody like Elliott.
The American Dream.
The American Dream. The American Ream. Me and Elliott were having this conversation. We were talking about how when he first joined, he was I don't want to call him a liability, but he was
a liability. He was.
We didn't see the best of Tim Ream until Slavisa put him into that team, and I just think the one thing I'd say about Tim Ream is obviously he was voted Bolton Player of the Season before we signed him, and I just think my estimation of him has gone from up there so there was a comparison on Twitter saying that he's a bit like Chris Baird, where Chris Baird started with joined Fulham. He had a terrible first season. He wasn't at the Chris Baird, the Bairdinho that we knew and loved. So I have a lot of respect for Tim Ream. I'm going to go controversial. I want to go a 9.
My heart.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. I'd say that's probably a little high rated for Ream. I love him, but I don't know if he played 9 out of 10 today. Like, I've seen him play 10 out of 10 games, and today I wouldn't have said it was a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. I would have said it being about a 7. The whole of the back four, I would have said it was about an average of 7 today. So it was strong. We didn't have much to defend. We didn't have much threats to defend. So I would say the whole team is a 7. They didn't get a goal. No. Bettinelli kept the clean sheet. There's no complaints from the back four for me. I've
got to give Tim Ream a bit of man love. I'm going to give him a 9. You can disagree if you want.
Tim Ream, for me, I thought that he played all right today. To be fair, there wasn't many stand-up players in the squad, but the ones that did stand out we'll get to in a minute. But I think with Tim Ream, since he joined from Bolton, he started off with a bit of a rocky ride, but then with everything that Slavisa's doing, he's shuffled this squad more times than a deck of cards. But with all this shuffling that he's done, he's finally found a spot that Tim Ream's comfortable in, and he's bringing a consistency as well. Like, I haven't seen him play a bad game all season.
Yeah, he's been all season. He was unreal. When we went to Reading away and Callas got sent off in the first 20 seconds, that was it. The 90 minutes, that was the game that really made Tim Ream for me. Just the fact that everybody was going, Callas is the main defender. He's the strong link of that defence. And Tim Ream's gone and proven everybody wrong. He stood up. He wiped himself down for the criticism he's been taken, and he's proved himself. So nothing but love for Tim Ream.
A group, what can we agree on as a score for Tim Ream? You're saying 9, you're saying 9, he's saying 7, I'll say 8. So can we all meet in the middle and say 8?
No.
I was going to say 8. All right. We'll be kind tonight. We'll give Tim Ream.
Right, let's go on to midfield.
The midfield. So we had Steph Joe. What would you say Steph Joe was playing? He was well.
You know what? Well. I think with Steph Joe, once again, Steph's another player that's coming for a lot of criticism on Twitter, and I think, from my point of view, maybe you can disagree with me, I think that's very unfair. I think, yes, he's not been to the same level. He wasn't to the same level in the beginning of the season as he was last season, but there was still the quality he was showing. Obviously, for going to Nottingham Forest, going to QPR, consecutive away games for you, and he scored twice. Beautiful free kick, Nottingham Forest. I just think a lot of the criticism has come unfairly for Steph Joe, and he's proven everybody wrong. So I'm going to give Steph Joe 7. Is that fair? I'd say 7,
Yeah, I'd say about 7 as well.
I like how gentle he is when he's on the ball. Like, the ball will touch his feet, and he's so calm with it. He's so comfortable on the ball. He's got great vision. He can see the runs left, right, and centre. And he made a few good passes tonight, but he didn't do much wrong. And when he did come off eventually, I was happy with his performance. And overall, I'd probably give him a 7 as well.
Yeah. Tom Cairney, and ain't nobody like Tom Cairney, scored today, as everybody knows.
Big goal. That was a big goal.
That was a big goal. That was the first.
Injury, so
you know what? It wasn't even
that.
For me. It was the fact that it was.
Boost.
It was a confidence boost because obviously he's a player and a half. We saw this last season.
We know he's a player and a half.
He almost took us to Wembley with the team last season. So for me, TC was quality today. It wasn't his greatest game, but I'd probably give TC 8.
Yeah, definitely 8. Definitely, absolutely. I'd
got
say
cramp in my toes. Sorry, mate.
I'd say definitely Tom Cairney did an 8 out of 10 today. He played well.
Yeah.
What about
Tom Cairney? For me, I think last season was a standout season for him. He played very well, and I think that's why he's attracting big bids still to this day. And I think he must be happy today. He's got his second goal of the season. He hasn't scored for a while. He's been out injured.
Yeah.
But I think his goal today has given him a real confidence boost. And hopefully this can continue on into our next run of games. And with this oomph we have now, I think, how many have we gone undefeated now? 16?
13,
No, we're like
15.
13, 14 now. That's ridiculous, actually.
But yeah,
that is title-winning form.
When you've got that form behind you, the morale in the training room is going to be so high, and all the players are going to be so behind each other. And I don't think there's any negativity going on in there right now. Everything's running smoothly. As a group, I'd say 8.
Yeah, 8 definitely.
Kev Mack, Super Kev Mack, Mr.
Kev,
Underrated.
10.
You know,
I love Kev.
Yeah.
Kev is just such a solid as a rock, I swear to God. Like, he just doesn't let the ball away from his feet. I swear, he will chase it down.
it's my biggest worry that
Kev, 10 out of 10 for me.
Kev, for me, I'd give him an 8. But my biggest worry about Kevin McDonald is the fact that his age is catching up, the sands of time are catching up with him. And if we get promoted to the Premiership, if he was a bit younger, I have no doubt he'd thrive in the Premiership. He'd be a strong Premiership midfielder.
He's about that age, 28, 29.
Yeah, he's late 20s, maybe early 30s. And the one thing I'd say with Kev is that everybody else gets the credit because of the scoring goals, but he's the one that not even creates it, but just breaks. He's the one that breaks. No, he doesn't create it. He breaks up the play. So, for instance, you have a team that come and counter attack.
It's the burst he makes into the attacking third that you don't see from anyone else. Those people really are putting. Shut up!
But yeah, no, Kev Mack. I'm going to give him an 8. But I'm not sure about you, gents.
I've given him a 10. Michael, what's your prediction?
I'd give him a firm 7.5. I think, yeah, but with the burst of energy that it brings into the attacking third, allowing players to get into space and open up play.
Michael he said 7.5 out of 10. Yes. I said 10. He said an 8 out of 10.
So I'll just go back to that bit quickly.
So what were you saying about Kevin McDonald?
I'd give him a firm 7.5. I think when players are coming towards him, when he's making them bursts of energy down the attacking third, when he's head on with the centre backs and the defenders are more worried about when the Kevin McDonald's running at them than he is about the surrounding players that are coming in when he's running at them. And when things like that happen, there's so many open opportunities and spaces, and I'm sure we must have scored at least 5 plus goals from Kevin McDonald just running down that middle and scaring defenders.
Yeah, creating opportunities for the likes of Steph, Joe and Kearney to take the plaudits at the end of the day. But yeah, so okay. Kev McDonald, very underrated.
8 out of 10.
Yeah, 8. Yeah.
I'm going to stick to my 10 out of 10.
As a group,
we're going to have to go 8, 2 to 1.
I'm going to have to disagree with both. 10.
It's 2 to 1, 8.
10. All right, 2 to 1. You can give me your logistics, whatever. But
Ojo.
Sheyi Ojo.
He
if I don't butcher his name again.
A good player. I like Sheyi Ojo. I've got not too much to rave about him. He does make quite a good few runs. He needs to release the ball a bit more instead of trying to skill players up in the box. I think if he got into the box and released it, then we would have had more opportunities at scoring. But Sheyi Ojo, I'd have said a 6 out of 10. I like him. I've got rates for him, but he's not an outstanding player in this current Fulham team.
Sheyi Ojo as well, I also think that, yeah, he has a burst of steam, he's very fast, he's got a good dribbling ability, but to be honest with you, he lacks final product. Compare him with these other players in the team. All those players can bring enough to score, And I haven't seen much of that from Sheyi Ojo, to be honest.
I don't know if I agree with that, because I mean, at the early half of the season there was a weird statistic. It was like every game that Sheyi Ojo played, we've won. And me and him were up at Sheffield United earlier in the season, ironically, in the 5-4 game, and the link-up play between Sess and Sessegnon was unreal. I think he's another player on Twitter that gets slandered a lot. Sometimes fairly so, sometimes unjustifiably so, but I'm going to give Sheyi Ojo a 7 today, because I don't think he was too bad. I don't want to be overly critical.
Can I talk about this guy? Because, you know, the first game of the season, one of the first, I think it was Sheffield Wednesday, I asked, can I do an interview with you? He said, yeah, fine. And he was just talking to me. I think he's got, you know, modern footballers, right? They're a different breed of people. Yeah. You have to be confident, otherwise you're never going to make it. And I think he's got that arrogance. He wants to be like the fashionable guy and stuff like that. But I think
I don't like footballers.
I don't know. Yeah, I think.
But they are rock stars. We've got to face that reality, Michael. That's the thing. You know, we don't like arrogant people, but the reality is, if you're not arrogant, you're very rarely going to make it. Even Tom Kenny's a nice guy, but he's got an ego.
The reason has kind of put us off, well, not me personally, but mud off players like Sheyi Ojo, is just witnessing like Jamie O'Hara's downfall. I mean, for me, when Jamie O'Hara first broke into that Fulham team, I was excited because of the fact what he had done at Portsmouth when that FA Cup run with Spurs, winning the League Cup with them, and it was this disappointment that a lot of instead of it being focused on the football, it was more focused on the personal life. I understand that everyone, all these footballers are human. This is why I'm not so critical of players when they have poor games, it's because they are at the end of the day human. But I didn't really like to see that when it comes to players. I want them to be focused.
What is the issue with Sheyi Ojo? I wasn't really aware. What is the thing that people have got with him?
I don't have an agenda against Sheyi Ojo. He seems like an alright lad. As you said, like, he will come do a couple of signatures.
He signs every single person's autograph. He's the one. Even when we were at Derby, when I went round, only Tom Kenny and him were the only people that came over and signed. He does it all the time. So when
you go first.
Go on. But when people say it about him, I want to understand, because I don't understand. You've got to fill in the gaps about what this social media, because you've just said, so you called him out on social media.
I called it out on social media because I've seen a lot of it on social media.
What is it? What is it?
I don't want to be critical of people's opinions, but like, it just seemed unfair attacks. I mean, I think the one thing that a lot of Fulham fans have realised is the political side of the transfer market and the loan system. I think I was reading something on Twitter. It was something along the lines that he has to play a certain, like, Liverpool have a contract in his contract, if that makes any sense.
It's a contract saying that he needs to play a certain amount of time during the season.
Unless, if we don't play him, we have to pay Liverpool. So I think that's kind of one of the reasons that he has, and I think he's a bit hit and miss. Like I said, he has some really top quality games, but then at the same time he can go missing. So I think I can.
So as you were saying, like, as he signs everyone's shirts and he makes time for all the fans, fair enough, you can't fault him as a person, but I think as a fan I'm allowed to, and I think other people are too, you're allowed to fault him as a footballer. Yeah. Because if you're playing and you're not doing much, then don't expect. Yeah. Then you must expect to
fair enough, actually. Yeah, fair, completely fair.
All right, so let's give this Sheyi Ojo a rating.
Sheyi Ojo.
I'll give him a 7. I love how this has gone down to Elliott.
I'll back you up, Liam, and say a 7. I don't personally think he deserved a 7. I would have said a 6, but we'll leave it at a 7.
Sessegnon first, then we'll give Mitro at the end. Go on, Sessegnon.
I love the kid. Don't get it twisted. I think he's one of my favourite players to ever grace the club. But tonight, physicality let him down.
Yeah, he wasn't.
I can't, because he's our top scorer. You can't give him a rubbish
17
rating.
years of age.
Regardless, he's 17 years old. I'm gonna give him an 8, even though he didn't do nothing. He didn't come close. He didn't offer much, but I'm gonna give him an 8. Ryan Sessegnon, you're my hero, mate.
Yeah. 17 years of age.
Sessegnon today. Like, as Michael said, I love him. He is one of the best players to grace this pitch so far, but I'm going to have to be critical. His strength did let him down today, so I would have said it was about 6. He hasn't made as big as an impact as he had in previous games. And don't get me wrong,
Love Sess.
like the last couple of games, it's been 10 out of 10 ratings. But
Elliot, you have to admit, you're playing against like 11 thugs, really, from Sheffield. They were doing lots of stuff to Mitrovic. They were trying to wind him up, little kicks, little things in the back. With Sessegnon, you're against 11 thugs. What are you going to do at 17 years old?
True. I guess
What do you do?
You just like, for someone of his size and ability, you just like for games like that to react is not worth it.
I think that shows his maturity, to be honest.
That is true.
I personally think that shows his maturity, and the reasoning that he's being linked with a £50 million move
He's not
is the fact
the
that
bait,
exactly,
and his players' challenges.
Yeah, exactly. Like Elliot's just said it best. Like he isn't reacting, he's showing his quality, and he's keeping his head down. And that's one thing I love about Sess. It's just he comes across as so humble, and it's just nice. It's nice to see him develop.
What he offers a public media aspect as well is he doesn't.
BBM crashed. Hashtag big.
No, but he doesn't brag. He doesn't blag.
He's not a showboat.
He doesn't showboat. He doesn't criticise. He doesn't hate. He just does himself. He's who he is. He's being himself, and I think for a 17-year-old to be mature enough to do that.
Yeah,
he's
and this level as well.
At a level he is, he's so destined for big things.
Yeah.
So today's rating.
Today's rating.
Even though he didn't do much, I'll give him a solid 7.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7.
As a group, what do you think?
Yeah, actually, no. You know what?
I would say
I wanna
7. Like on the pitch, 6 out of 10. But in reality, he got a 7 out of 10 for not reacting to the players' challenges, for keeping his head up, to not get injured, and to keep marching on for the next game. So, Sess, 7 out of 10, definitely.
And yeah, I probably agree with that. I mean, I was going to go 6, but I think I've been outnumbered. And that's not any hate of Sess. It's just tonight's performance wasn't. Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the main man.
Mitro on fire.
Mitro.
It's a bit hot, isn't it? Mitro's on fire.
I would, as an individual, I'd give him a 9 out of 10 tonight. Like, he scored a brace, you can't fault him at all for that. To be honest with you, I thought his first goal was very well. He got in for that low-driven ball across the box, and he done well to get into the end of that.
Correct positioning.
The second goal, I'll be honest, I didn't really see too much of it. All I see was the ball end up in the back of the net, and everybody jumping up.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm sorry again, I'm going to have to make a bit of criticism. One thing I think Newcastle fans as well will agree with me on this. He needs to remain calm.
Yeah, he does.
Like, he got booked today for absolutely no reason. The ball escaped from his foot, and he pushed his man with him. Like, fair enough, the Sheffield United players have probably been winding him up all game.
Yeah.
Like little dirty kicks here and there, but you got to react better to that. And I can't fault him too much. The guy's only 23 years old. He's still got a lot to learn, a lot to achieve. And all I can say is, with the way the things are going currently, I hope he just carries on to achieve those things.
Yeah, I hope he does as well. I think that, like I said in the Derby video, is a coup. He for what he's done and the potential that he showed before moving to Newcastle, I think he's starting to fulfil it. I know it's not Premiership football. I understand it's Championship football, second-tier English football, but the fact that he's being able to, you got to think that even at a Championship level, like, these are top professionals, and he's being able to bully them, and not only bully them but bring them into play. I gave Tim Ream a bit of love, a lot of love earlier, but I'm going to have to give Mitrovic a 9. Obviously, Tim Ream man of the match in my opinion. Yeah, controversial. I know.
I don't know. I would have said Mitro was my man of the match. He got the two goals to put us 2-0 up, to give us that confidence to get the third and to finish off the game. So Mitrovic, 9 out of 10, strong. He's strong as an ox, as they would say, as it's the Chinese New Year's. And
look at you with them statistics. That trivia, yeah.
The trivia on that. He's done very well today, Mitrovic. 9 out of 10, solid rating. Keep pushing on for these more goals, and we'll get the Premier League position of second. We will knock Cardiff out. Hopefully they can slip up.
9. So what is Mitro's rating set?
Aleksandar, as a group, Aleksandar, we score you as a group 9 out of 10.
Yeah, solid, big rating today.
Mitro's on fire.
Quick. Just purely based on the final score, we won 3-0, and overall, with the chemistry and the team, I can give you a 8.5 out of 10 today.
I would agree with that.
I'd say 9. It just shows how good this team has been.
Exactly.
Not only today, but just throughout the season. I think I saw earlier it was like something like 70% possession or something
it should have
stupid
been like
that again.
Week in, week out.
And it's becoming a habit with this club. So I mean, I'm trying to look from a balanced perspective, but at the moment I can't find anything to fault in this team. Maybe someone else can prove me wrong and someone can bring it up. But for me, I'm gonna actually go and say a 9, because the fact that maybe I'm being a bit harsh, maybe a 10 because we were so dominant today. But I think that's become such a habit that winning 3-0 is just a 9 rating instead of a 10. So yeah.
Got to be a little bit biased to make it fair, but yeah, I'd say 8.5, 9 out of 10. Solid performance all round. So I think it's a solid 8 or 9.
I'll budge up my squad performance by half a point so we can all agree on a 9.
Yeah.
All right, Slavisa Jokanovic.
What a man.
Slavista. Whoa.
What a
Slavista.
What? The thing is, I look at Slav, and we go back to Twitter and we go back to social media and the criticism he's come under. The fact that I said this once again in the Barnsley video. I said that Slav needed to take control of the transfer policy. Obviously, sacking the missing is that the right word? Sacking Craig Klein has become a huge benefit. And I think it just shows you how good Slavisa has been. The fact that, this is Tony Khan's best mate, we're talking about Craig Klein, and he's gone and sacked him and listening to Slav. And I think if we carry on, if we can get promotion, even if we're struggling down the bottom and we're on the brink of relegation, I know it sounds like a lot of Slav love, but I feel like you can look at it in the same way Sean Dyche is. I know we're not Burnley, we're a lot bigger than Burnley, but I'd rather have a bit of consistency even if we're struggling down the bottom, because I just feel that Slav's the man to long term. I'm not talking just next year or this year. I'm talking maybe 3-4 years if we can keep him for that long. We'll build something established. I'm talking maybe an established Premiership football team that can play good football. We're not going to dominate in no shape, manner or form. Do I expect us to get back to the Premiership and do a Leicester and win the league? But I hope that we can
go into the Premier League and actually
give it a go.
Top 10, get to the top 10.
I think we have to be realistic. It's going to be difficult. They were saying that it's probably like a big 7, maybe a big 8 with Everton with the money they've got at the moment. It's going to be difficult, but I feel like if we've got the financial backing, as we said earlier about Shad Khan having an 8.8 billion pounds.
Well, we don't need to mention numbers, but knowing that he is one of the wealthiest mans in the United States of America, one of the biggest countries in the world, should say something. And if he is independent, if he is committed to this club and would put in a bit of investment and get us to the position we want to be in, then there'll be nothing but love for you.
Yeah. But I think in regards to Slavisa Jokanovic, he's been here well over a year and a half now, but I think now's the time we can finally say that he's got his feet firmly on the ground.
Yeah.
Like with all the commotion that's been going on with the board and decisions, now he's got the free flow of decisions that he can make. He's found the comfort. Yeah. And now he's found the comfort, we've begun to excel. And don't get it twisted, last season we had a great end to the season and we ended up in the playoffs, but this season we've topped it. I think sorry mate, but yeah, based on the decisions that he's made this season, we're just going from strength to strength.
Yeah, we are. I'm going to go and say once again 9 today, because once again we just played Sheffield United. I said this Derby video, I said we're not taking anybody lightly in this division, and I thought Sheffield United, with them chasing the playoffs, would come out and give us a harder game, but maybe first 5 minutes it was difficult, but it just seems like with this Fulham team under Slavisa that after we pass them off the park, we just turn them over, and I'm going to give them a 9 today. Brilliant quality.
We've found the comfort in having a squad available for midweek games when we have such limited time from the weekend game to recover and get ourselves prepared for the next game. So I think I've got to thank him for that. The acquisitions that he's made for the rotational choices that he makes in the midweek games. Yeah. Our squad is just a smidgen off our Saturday matchday squad. Yeah. And even then, the chemistry is just as great. And thank you, Fulham. Well, I don't think he made any fault with the choices he made in his starting 11 at all. Like, these the games that we've had, the run-ins against all the playoff teams, we've fielded very strong sides. And I think since the first game in our playoff run that we played against, what was it, Bristol City?
I think it was
No, Villa was the first game we played in that. And I think since our win at Villa, we have not made a single bad choice with the squad we made.
Up the Fulham.
Yeah, and I think with the choices we've made since that game with our starting 11, we have not fielded.
What would your be Slavisa's rating today?
10 out of 10. Yeah. And the game before, 10 out of 10. And the game before that, 10 out of 10. And the game
before that, 9.5 out of 10.
And the game that's coming up will also be a 10 out of 10 because Michael's saying it here, and you heard it here first. Fulham versus Preston this Saturday. My score prediction: Fulham 4, Preston 0. You heard it here first. Put your pound on it.
Slavisa's tactics over the last couple of weeks have proven to do us a justice in winning the last 4, 5 now.
Too many.
Well, it's getting to the point where we just lose track of how many we were winning now. But the last couple of weeks, Slavisa's done us proud. He's got the tactics right each week. He's definitely watching the opponents' previous games to show where their weaknesses are, and we seem to keep taking advantage of them. Sessegnon, he is a world-class player, and he will be. I saw on the 442 magazine it was a 50 million EFL player of the
first ever
EFL player for 50 million pounds. And I was saying to him,
442 magazine,
if we can get to the Premier League and he can produce, then it'll be an extra naught onto the 50 million. So, well, we'll see. 17. You've heard it here first. If it does come through to fruition, like I said, if it comes out in 2 years, 3 years time that Paul Pogba is a nobody and he's in Division 1 while Sessegnon's at the top of the division.
Let's give this man credit where credit's due, because this man rightfully guessed that Donald Trump to be the president.
Yeah,
That's true.
And he won money on it.
4-1. 4-1. He was on the night. 4-1. He was getting longer and longer. What about Jeremy Corbyn? He was 4-1, wasn't he, to be Labour leader?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, I'm a bit of a superstition.
Conspiracy theory.
Hang on, how much you betted on Donald Trump to win?
I think it was £39. It was like 195 return, so it's not too bad of a little profit. But
just a little bit of a profit.
Okay,
look. Slavisa Jokanovic, I think we all think you've done great tonight and in previous games with the choices you make. So as a group, I think we'd all score a perfect 10.
I can't hold my fingers up, but
Perfect.
There you go.